Hi there, yeah, Nick Dutch again. So just basically a continuation from the last video. So how should I put this? I do want to continue working out essentially what's real and what's not, what can be controlled and what can't be controlled. But I also know that when we're dealing with the supernaturalism, most of the occultists will substitute knowledge for belief, and they'll accept belief to be the be-all and end-all of everything, which is why like ufology has become like a spiritual path or basically a religion, which is why essentially all kinds of wacky ideas basically become religious. A lot of people get involved with specific New Age religions initially out of an interest in the supernatural, in magic, and in trying to create results, which again places me in a position of being disliked, distrusted, and possibly even hated by certain members of the public. When I'm trying to explain the right attitude to the supernatural towards anybody, I always try and convince them that after they've done a ritual or meditation, prayerful work or whatever, they immediately go into a state of disbelief afterwards, because that's the way in which you maintain your sanity. And then in a more rational, objective state, you can then look back at the experience and you can start to categorize and catalog anything which seems to occur. I agree and admit that a lot of the practitioners these days do suffer from, if not lack of academic study, but lack of the ability to use reasoning when approaching their own experiences. I would say that I have knowledge that under certain circumstances some things are true. For instance, if I chose to disbelieve the experiences of seeing the spirits, for instance, I might as well disbelieve that there is this digital camera in front of me right now, because of course the experience was that real. I am perfectly willing to accept the fact that I was in a altered state of consciousness brought about by prayer, meditation, ritual work, and so on and so forth, which was therefore making it more likely that I could be in a state of hallucination. However, as I've mentioned in a previous video here on YouTube, hallucination itself could be regarded as a variety of perception, because what I'm doing now is, I say I'm experiencing the reality of this table and so on and so forth, but I'm really just reacting to electrical impulses in my brain which are created by, or seem to be created by, my sensory organs. So perception itself is in fact a variety of hallucination, and hallucination itself by inference could possibly and arguably be a form of perception. But when we're trying to be scientific in terms of the results that we're getting, we can't just take our own perceptual cues into account. We can't just take our own perceptual experiences into account. For instance, I could have a dream that I'm a multimillionaire, and hey presto, I wake up and I find I'm not. Oh dear. The dream that I was a multimillionaire does not mean to say I am a multimillionaire. So just testing upon myself is not necessarily going to be useful or usable, although the experiences that I can have in prayer, meditation, ritual, and so on and so forth can be interesting forms of psychological training. The experiences can be essentially good fun, but realistically I have to stop at that. However, I would say that using the same techniques, one can actually, using presumably psychosomatic methodology, control the behavior of a certain internal organ, such as your circulation. You can warm your feet up through visualizing light going to your feet with certain breathing exercises in the right state of consciousness. But that is psychosomatic. But it still comes under the umbrella term of magic, because it's still a power of the mind, which is being deliberately done. Okay? But let's take, for example, telepathy. if you were to take two individuals who have never met before, okay, and you were to keep them apart but put them through the same training exercises, maybe even at the same time of day, teach them meditation, teach them how to alter their state of consciousness, give them training on visualization, how to improve that, and then you were to instruct one of them to send to the other one certain imagery in a certain meditational state, such as in the Gansfield type test, and you were to get results from that, then although you cannot possibly say the mechanism by which these two minds have communicated, you can still say that there is a result there, and therefore it is of interest. But, what of the individual practitioner? I mean, yeah, when I'm selling this service, I'm selling it as an entertainment service for good reason, because no one should be living their life from reading to reading, ever. That's just psychologically unhealthy, and is therefore wrong. But you as an individual practitioner, I mean, can you yourself start to build up a scientific understanding of what you're doing? By all means. But you can't do that through the quick method of jumping to the conclusion that it is spirits that is doing this, that, and the other, or it's energies, or it's God. You can't say that, because it's still unproven, even to yourself. Because if you do jump to these conclusions, you're actually turning your allegedly scientific investigation into a religion, and it therefore, a belief system, and therefore it ceases to be even remotely useful. So, if I was to prepare myself sufficiently, alright, for a period of, let's say, 3 months, to do one particular exercise, one particular type of exercise, I'd be prepared to do that. And then at the 3-month period, if there's someone else who's gone through the same type of training, I could then experiment with them, and I'm pretty sure I'd get results. So, despite the fact that I encourage disbelief, I would say that yes, I have some knowledge on the basis of experience that certain things do happen under some circumstances. But all we've got is the techniques of ritual magic and the religiosity aspect as our means of execution of this technology, so to speak. Which, it makes life difficult. And yes, it makes us look weird to the outside world. But our experimentation is still just experimentation. We have to leave it at that. I mean, I would love to get a group of 100 guys together and just to go through the right training exercises in accordance with my experience, and then to be able to create something of a wonderful and a wonderful nature that can actually prove unequivocally the veritable existence of the supernatural. But even if I was to do so, scientists would use their own reasoning ability or logical ability to discredit the fact that a very real phenomenon occurred. Because that's just the way the world is. So we will always remain in the darkness, so to speak. We will always be considered to be somehow less than, until there's a massive change in the understanding. And partially, the more people who are involved with all this kind of stuff, the better. But also that's a negative, because a lot of the people who are involved in all this kind of stuff take the religious attitude and start to just believe stuff rather than to try and investigate. And I think that's sad, and it is a bad indictment on various New Age religions. But that's the way it is, stuff happens.